So as McCormick, who won that district actually by 30 points himself, Congressman Tim Moore joins us right now. He's a Republican from North Carolina. He's on House Budget and Financial Services. What about this dynamic? Because we've done a lot of stories on DOGE. Is it turning a little on Republicans? Have you seen anything like that?
Well, thanks, Connell. It's great to be with you. Actually, what I'm seeing is a lot of support for what Elon Musk and the DOGE group are doing. They have really found so much waste that was out there that for decades and decades was unable to be discovered. And they're using it through AI. They're using it through a lot of other technology that I'm actually welcoming. And when this gets to us on the budget side, we're going to be looking principally for waste, fraud, and abuse. To try to find a way to bring things into balance. We know about the national debt that's out there.
Yes.
And really getting rid of wasteful spending is going to be key to addressing that.
Yeah, the efforts to cut down on wasteful spending, everybody probably should support. I mean, come on, we do a lot of that, so you can find some of it. The how has been the question, right? And I think that Congressman Don Bacon is from Nebraska. We've had him on this show before, talked about that. And I have the quote here from Congressman Bacon. He says, before making cuts rashly, the administration should be studying and staffing to see what the consequences are. Measured twice before cutting. They've had to backtrack multiple times. And that's from a Republican, not from a Democrat. Is it fair?
Well, I think anything of this magnitude, there may be, a few mishaps along the way. But what I've also found is that when the DOGE folks have realized maybe there's something that deserves a second look, is that they're not afraid to go back and to look at that. And I had a town hall, not really a town hall, but an office opening yesterday, and I had a few folks who had questions about it, but I had even more folks who were there being thankful and appreciative of the fact that finally, for once, that a president and that Congress are trying to find ways to deal with all this waste.
There was nothing like that McCormick event, your town hall.
No, yeah. Mine was a very different reception than Congressman McCormick.
Okay. Should everything be on the table? We've talked about defense, for example. I have a clip here of the president talking about Medicare. Let me play that, and then we'll come back and talk about how far you think they should go. Here's what President Trump said.
Look, Social Security won't be touched. Other than if there's fraud or something, we're going to find it's going to be strengthened, but won't be touched. Medicare, Medicaid, none of that stuff is going to be touched.
So that, he says, will not be touched. What? Anything else that should be off the table in your view?
I think if you have services that are helping people who need help, you don't mess with that. But the examples that have been brought, forward, like somebody, 300 years old.
Right.
I know some people who act like 300 years old, but
yeah.
I don't think they really are.
Well, that's good politics. I mean, the president does the kind of stuff. It's good politics. We actually looked. There was an audit done. I don't think most of those or any of those people, obviously they're not alive. They're not. There's no checks being written, or very few, was what we saw in the audit anyway. But there's the people, I guess maybe people on the rolls. But the point is, there is waste, there's fraud, there's mistakes made at least. It's silly for anybody to be still on there. So I get that.
Yeah, exactly. And look, the things that came to light with USAID, I mean, a lot of folks' jaws dropped when they saw some of the money that was just being misdirected in the sense of, why are we spending that money? Mm-hmm. And so, and this is very personal for me, though, Connell, because I represent Western North Carolina that was hit so hard by Hurricane Helene, and we have folks really suffering. And so when I hear stories of money being sent over to, for all some of these woke programs in the Middle East and anywhere else, frankly, and we have folks back here who have, played by the rules, paid their taxes, done everything they're supposed to do, and need help. I mean, I got to say that infuriates me.
Yeah, it makes them mad. No, that's understandable. That does bring up a wider point on speaking about money. That's been one of the ideas that's been thrown around the last couple of days. You've probably seen that with the savings, there's this idea you take 20% of it, which would work out supposedly to like $5,000 a household. Again, they're nowhere close to saving this much yet, but if they ever got there, they would send people checks. Is that a good idea?
I'm open to anything, but I'm more concerned, frankly, about our national debt. I think any money that we save, we ought to really
just
try to
pay down the debt.
Because I mean, it's almost like getting past due notices that have been coming to the federal government for decades. And if we don't deal with that, if we don't deal with that national debt, I mean, and it's not the most exciting topic to talk about, but it is so important.
But it is, because we don't know the timing. That's the problem. You could always say ticking time bomb, but you just don't know exactly when it's going to go off. But pretty much everybody agrees if it does, you got a real problem on your hands. But Congressman, thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Great. Yeah, it's good to be with you.
Congressman Moore. We'll take